Spielberg's fingerprints are all over this. He wasn't allowed to direct E.T. and Poltergeist at the same time, but he was doing a lot of second shots on Poltergeist.
Yeah, it feels like Goonies vibes.
I always in my head was like, God, this feels to me like a remake of Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Well, he wrote this one, right? He's one of the writers.
Max, it's more than that. So I dug deep because you're right. He did write it.
Yeah.
And what I uncovered to me was like, it made perfect sense when I read it, but I just never had heard it before. And I just was blown away by it. Okay. Spielberg conceived the idea for Poltergeist as a horror sequel to his 77 film, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He had a brief treatment, and then he wanted to go to Stephen King to write it. Stephen King was too expensive.
I remember that,
and you know all that. It was titled Night Skies, because what this movie feels like to me is Close Encounters of the Third Kind if you swap out the aliens and you put in ghosts and spirits. Welcome to Buzzn The Tower, a podcast dedicated to the movies of the 1980s. Prepare to be stuffed in our DeLorean and taken on a trip through the best decade of film ever.
Hey Mo, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads. So if you love Caddyshack, The Goonies, Aliens, Weird Science, Spies Like Us, The Great Outdoors, Empire Strikes Back, The Great Muppet Caper, Pretty in Pink, Predator, Rocky IV, Roadhouse, Say Anything, Real Genius, Short Circuit, Some Kind of Wonderful, Beverly Hills Cop, Akira, Tango and Cash, The Breakfast Club, and They Live, just to name a few, then sit back, relax, and get ready to be entertained. Because we came here to chew bubblegum and podcast about 80s movies, and we're all out of bubblegum. If you haven't already, subscribe to Buzzn The Tower on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever your favorite podcast platform is. And while you're there, leave a review and a 5-star rating. It's a moral imperative! You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, and all social media platforms by searching the tag at Buzzn The Tower. That's BUZZN The Tower. Also, check out our website, buzzinthetower.com, and grab some officially licensed gear. It's so choice. If you have the means, I highly recommend picking some up. Now, if you want to get nuts, let's get nuts. Head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/BuzzinTheTower. With memberships as low as $3 a month, you can have access to tons of extra content, and a portion of all proceeds go directly to Save Ferris. Dark O'Shea, darling, Dark O'Shea. Buzzn The Tower is brought to you by Sonic Loans. You can find them at sonicloans.com. Oh man, when I think about getting a mortgage and buying a house, the first thing that comes into my mind, Poltergeist.
Yeah, I want a haunting.
You better, it's not a haunting, it's a poltergeist.
Oh yeah, right.
Max, shame on you. Come on.
It's not towards an individual.
But don't worry about that.
Okay.
More importantly, if you're going to get a good mortgage and you think you're refining or you think that you're getting a good amount of money, you
dig
better,
up the graves.
You better get the bones out of the actual graveyard, because that house, I don't care if you're 2%, I don't care if you're 1%, there just isn't enough money to protect
1%?
you. That is why Sonic Loans, they're the place you want to go. They're going to get you the best mortgage rate. They're going to take care of your needs. They're going to make sure that you're not being ripped off. Max, for more information, reach out to Sonic Loans today. Tell them that Buzzn The Tower sent you, and get ready to love the loan process without being possessed by the devil.
NMLS number 1955855. Not available in all states. Not a commitment to lend. Additional requirements apply. Visit sonicloans.com or call 313-488-4888 for more information.
Buzzn The Tower is brought to you by Bolton Legal Group. You can find them at boltonlegalgroup.com for a free consultation. Call 248-595-0001. We are now celebrating Halloween. And Bolton Legal Group is the place you want to go if you were sold a false bill of goods. If someone said, move into this house, it's a great little place, got a nice view of the hill, sweet little neighborhood, neighbors that like to watch football and drink beer, until you find out that it was made on unsullied land, Max, and then the monsters come, and that's when you need Bolton Legal Group.
Clowns.
They're aggressive bird law or dead bird law, Max.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. But you got to really make sure that you get the right legal representation. That's where Bolton Legal Group is going to take care of you and your family. They're aggressive, they're efficient, they're going to win your case. Whatever law you need, they are the law. You like that? A little
I am the
Judge
law.
Dredd. Reach out today. Tell them that Buzzn The Tower sent you. They'll take care of you. They'll love you. They'll hug you. And if you're scared from a scary movie, they'll make it all good. Today's episode, Poltergeist. Strange and creepy happenings beset an average California family, the Freelings, when ghosts commune with them through the television set. Initially friendly and playful, the spirits turned unexpectedly menacing, and when Carol Ann goes missing, Steve and Diane turn to a parapsychologist and eventually an exorcist for help. Today on Buzzn The Tower, as we continue our October thrill ride of trying to scare Max, we will discuss the classic Spielbergian birthchild, Poltergeist. I'm Mo Shapiro, and joining me as always, the Carol Ann to my ghosts and ghouls, Max Sanders. And with that,
You son of a bitch! You moved the cemetery, but you left the bodies, didn't you? You son of a bitch! You left the bodies, and you only moved the headstones. You only moved the headstones. Why? Why? It's the overacting moment of the century.
It's a lot of overacting.
He's shaking him like a British nanny.
Max, welcome to the show.
Hi. Are your ears bleeding?
No, I'm good. I'm good. and you know, it's the new studio. And
Yeah.
Coster's doing a great job on the levels. It actually wasn't that bad. I didn't have to have ear piercing pain coming through there.
I wanted to say that since I've seen this movie.
You were so excited.
Yeah.
I know.
This is my kind of horror movie.
Max, this last week was a little bit wild for me. I was in Portland, Oregon, Sunday to Thursday. Came back home.
What's Portland like?
It's beautiful.
Is it weird?
San Diego.
No. People say it's weird.
It is. It's weird.
Portland weird, right?
It's weird in the way that San Francisco is kind of weird now. It's changed over the
Hobos?
years. Yeah, like a lot.
Hobo knives.
But I will tell you, if you're a foodie, there just is no better place to go in the world than Portland. Like
Did you get the voodoo donuts?
that's like the least cool thing there.
Really?
Yeah, that was cool like 20 years ago.
Okay.
There's like either a food truck or a new restaurant every 10 feet, and it's every type of food you could think of, and it's all
Deep fried
delicious.
kimchi.
And that's Max, welcome to the show.
Hi.
For those of you who are joining us for the first time, I hope you don't get too scared by the topic, but it is Halloween.
It's
and
a PG movie.
Well, it is a PG. Well, almost was an R-rated movie, but
Yeah, but Spielberg
has incredible power,
Yeah.
and whatever he says goes. If this is your first time visiting the show, make sure that you hit that little follow or subscribe button. Leave us a review, 5 stars, whatever tickles your fancy, helps us out with the show. Additionally,
Mo doesn't beat me.
at Buzzn The Tower, Buzzn The Tower is our handle on all social media. Check us out on TikTok especially. You'll be pleasantly surprised by the delights that we have.
The wonders, the pleasure boxes.
You got it. You got it. BuzzonTheTower.com if you want some officially licensed merchandise, and Patreon.com/BuzzonTheTower. Max and I are joining you live from the Glaive Cave. I've got to come up with a better name for our new studio. We are inching towards our January start point of video and 90s movies, so bear with us if you love the 90s. We've only got about another 2 months left of 80s films. We will continue to do the 80s in 2024.
What are your top 3 90s movies?
You better calm down right now. And you know Point Break is one of them.
Yeah, I know. Me too. It's Point Break, Goodfellas, and Woof. What's the third one? Is it The Matrix?
So I Married an Axe Murderer.
That's really good.
That's a really good one.
The Pentateuch.
It's a well-known fact. I can't. Today's topic is Poltergeist. I have a couple quick stories to tell you, and we'll jump right into it. So,
Do you believe in hauntings?
That is not one of the stories I was going to tell.
Oh.
When people talk to each other, and I want you to follow me on this, I'm going to say it slow. Usually there is a reciprocation of the statement made. So if I say, Max, how's your day? You don't turn around and say,
I like your hat.
there you go. You'd say, my day's fine. Thanks for asking. So when I tell you I got 2 stories,
Yeah, he doesn't even get
don't
us.
pepper me. Don't pepper me.
Charlie Day. It's like, I don't think he even gets us, man.
No. You're the wild card. You are the wild
No
card.
one wants a wild card.
I want a wild card,
Yeah.
just not you, Max.
So I started blasting.
All right, so I get back from Portland. I'm home for 24 hours. I hit the road. My son had a soccer tournament in Sandusky, Ohio. Any of our fans from Ohio?
Cringe.
Cedar Point's fun.
I just think of the Penn
Kalahari.
State guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All those kids.
That's, yeah. Jesus Christ.
Never forget.
It's different. It's not Ohio. It's just his name, but that's great.
Yeah.
It's great,
It's a
Max.
weird name.
Dear God.
The town should change their name.
This is going to be a long episode. So we get out to Sandusky, Ohio, and I've got 2 great stories for you. The first is I'm in Kalahari. You've never been to a water park. It's not your style. You'd probably be grossed out by it, and you'd walk around barefoot because you're gross. But that's where the soccer tournament
You're not
is.
supposed to walk around.
So anyways, I'm in the water park, and all of a sudden I hear this, Mo Shapiro.
Yeah.
I turn around. Buddy of mine from high school, a couple of years younger than me, Ryan McTide. He's like, oh, I listen to the podcast all the time. He's like, when are you guys going to start 90s movies?
that's so
He was
cool.
all about it. So I had to give him a little bit of love. Him and I, he actually coached with me one of the years I was a JV coach. He was on one of my favorite staffs, and Ryan's a good dude.
I picture him like Danny McBride.
A little bit.
Is he?
No.
No, his name
I
just
don't know
rhymes
what
with
you're
it.
talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
Just calm down. The second thing that happened, Max, do you remember when I would bartend with you and every once in a while something would happen? Something,
You kick a girl in the face?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not always a girl though. So that was an accident.
He didn't mean to. He jumped over the bar.
But
It's
you
not like he was
remember how I'm one of the softest, most peaceful people in the world. But every once in a while, for the most part, I'm a very soft and peaceful person.
From a cupcake. I mean,
you're
a scone.
You're that way because you're scared.
Yeah.
I'm that way. I'm like a genuinely like a peaceful person. But you'd see that look in my eye, and a bar hop was imminent, and I would just absolutely just devour people. Right. Literally. So that may have almost happened at my son's championship game today.
With a ref?
With an entire group of dads of the opposing team.
What'd you do?
So my son, who is a really good soccer player, had a great game. His whole team is incredible.
Yeah, he warms that bench really nice.
That's you.
I know, I'm joking. Sorry.
I don't find that funny. I will leap across the table.
Don't make fun of
break
someone's
your
son
neck.
and their sporting stuff. Sorry.
Unbelievable.
That was bad.
So disrespectful.
Sorry.
I hate you, and I hope you get a very, very rare form of cancer.
Like
no, that's not cool. That's
foot cancer?
You get Kalahari foot cancer. It's really disgusting.
Kalahari.
No, that's the name of the place we stayed. But you don't
Sounds
listen.
tropical.
You don't listen when I talk.
Yeah.
You just are like nodding. It's okay. God. So in the game today, I'll try to make this quick because I know I lost you 5 minutes ago. But in the game today, it's like a round robin tournament. So we played 3 games. We won all 3 of them.
Like ladybugs.
Nothing like Ladybugs.
Okay.
Thank you, though. Second game today was the championship game. It was the best team we played against. Most of the game was physical, but it was okay. Refs don't always make the right calls. I live with that, right? If it's all within the sport. My son, all of a sudden, like, there's a collision on the other side of the field, and I see my son get pulled off the field. And I assumed he got a yellow card. But what I found out later was the head coach of the other team, after Aaron knocked this kid down, he ran up to the kid and looked over and was like, "I'm so sorry. Are you okay?" Like, because he is not like me. He is like really, really a sweet kid. Yeah. Their coach was screaming at him because he thought that Aaron was like puffing up, looking down at the kid and like yelling at my kid. Right. So I didn't see that. Had I seen that, I would have probably done something absurd.
Yeah.
So his coach is great. Took him off the field. He's really upset. He's on the bench crying, and I'm like, "What the hell happened?" Later in the game, the same kid, right, hard fouls my son, gets a yellow card.
Revenge.
Yellow cards are really rare in 10-year-old soccer. Okay.
Did he Uno reverse it?
No.
Oh, that'd be funny.
He hard fouls my son.
Yep.
My son gets up. He's okay. He's upset, but he's okay. The kid has to go off for one substitution, comes back in, finds my son.
Kicks him.
The ball is like kicked away from where my son kicks the ball away. He runs up to my son, sucker punches him in the stomach.
Jesus.
That was when I first had to turn to my wife, who, whatever crazy you think I have, let me tell
mothers
you,
and their sons.
She literally was looking for a knife and was ready to go onto the field and cut the 10-year-old's throat. But she didn't have like the calmness to be like, I should go after the parents of the ref. Like, she wanted the kid's blood. And I'm like, honey, like, so I turned to my wife and Reese and Charlie, who are all like, what the hell? I'm like, sit down. I start walking onto the field, and then all these parents on the other sideline are like yelling. I go over there and I can feel. Remember, I used to tell you when I was bartending and like my hands would start to shake a little bit. That's how I knew.
Did you get the thumb thing? Well, you get your finger in the air, right? When you get really angry.
Yeah, I talk with my hands.
Yeah.
So I started talking. I'm yelling at their parents, but I'm also like reasonably under control. Yeah. And I'm like, that's my kid on the ground. Your kid just sucker punched him. And they're like, we know. We told the ref. But you guys have also done da-da-da. I go, no. There's no you also, right? Yeah. Like, as far as I was concerned, this was basically like, don't tell me. I can't use this. I'm getting so angry again. I was about to say, this is like, had to stop myself in the middle of my analogy because I was heading down a dark path. But anyways.
Yeah, Michigan State halftime.
Yes, you got it. So I walk over and I'm like yelling at these parents. And finally I'm like, all right, I know this is going to turn into a brawl. So I'm like, hey, we all need to chill out. Like, we should be here right now to like support our kids.
You didn't West Mantooth it?
I know. I really, really chilled. And I was like, hey, like, everybody needs to knock it off. Like, let's just be respectful. This one dad walks right up to me. Like, he's almost nose to nose with me. Now, secondhand account of this, it looked a lot worse than it was because I had left the entire team and moved now all the way into where they were and was like in the middle of
1 versus 10.
Yeah. And as I'm talking to this dad, I stick my fist out and I'm like, hey, let's end this right now. This isn't a good look for in front of your kids, in front of my kids. Like, this isn't why we're here. So I have like the common sense to try to be the good person, right? And I put my fist out. He goes, I'm not fist bumping your hand. And I look at him, I go, you have to bleep this out. I go, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
And he goes, what'd you say? I go, you heard exactly what I said. And then his wife grabbed him and pulled him away. And then I walked back and sat down. Yeah. We won the game. They got their medals. Aaron was like on the sideline crying after he got punched and he was all upset.
Was he proud of his family?
No, he didn't know any of this. He was on the other side of the field. The game ends. I start walking towards Aaron because I want to check on him. All of a sudden I see like this vroom. I mean, like literally like a TIE fighter ripped by my ear.
Yeah.
It's Trish, who I've never seen move like this in my life.
Yeah.
She goes to the other side, just like embraces Aaron. Was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Oh my God, this kid." But I'm proud of him because he didn't swing back and he played a hell of a game. I'm proud of all those kids. But these parents are such poor white trash, and I just want to snap all their necks.
Are you gonna see him again?
And their coach is awful too.
Will this be like Rocky IV?
No.
Oh.
If I ever saw them and I had like a beer in me or a Zima, half a Zima in me, Max.
Do they still make Zima?
I'll find one, and boy, oh boy,
Smirnoff Ice.
I'll put a Jolly Rancher in that sucker, and you'll see 1995 Mo.
You ever had a long drink? They're delicious.
Oh, they're amazing.
Yeah.
They're incredible.
Yeah. It's really
Don't
good
put
stuff.
them in the same category. Long drinks are the most like
Zimas were
standalone.
refreshing.
Zimas are too sweet. Long drinks are like sweet but not sugary. They're
Okay.
incredible.
Are we still doing an 80s movie
Yeah, we
podcast? I
probably
blacked
should. I'm
out.
sorry. This all happened today.
Yeah. Like how long ago?
Like I got done with this, got in the car and drove home. So 2
Interesting.
hours ago.
Well, you're good at dealing with high stress situations.
No, Max, I wasn't good. What I realized today is that when it comes to my kids, I'm completely biased and I have no self-control.
Well, no one should be.
I know.
I mean, look at what my parents deal with.
Oh, your parents are in a whole different ballgame. They deserve medals. All right, back
Yeah.
to the podcast. We're
Yeah.
talking about Poltergeist. Thanks for letting me share my cathartic
No, that was
story.
interesting. You're a good storyteller.
One of us has to be. All right, Max, Poltergeist.
I'm not good.
I want to start with the most obvious part of this movie.
The dog?
In my mind.
The best dog of all time?
You know,
hot take.
You know, it's not a hot take. I know what you're going to say.
That we messed up, that we haven't put him in before?
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
We made that list of our favorite doggos.
Yeah.
And he should have been in there.
He's stealing food quietly. He's on his hands. He sees the ghost.
This is to me the beauty of Spielberg.
Yeah.
Is like he knows every single heartstring to pull.
Families.
And like when you throw a Ruffers in there.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of you that doesn't know. Is the Ruffers going to die at some point?
You-
Like
You thought that? No, I didn't think that.
Any movie that is a horror film where there's a Ruffers, my mind immediately goes to the thing.
It doesn't happen often.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's just you never
the,
know.
The family dog doesn't die. That's
No,
why I am
I
legend.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah. Sam.
I don't even like to bring that up. It makes me so upset.
I don't like that movie that much.
I liked it a lot.
The first half.
I liked
think
it.
it's stupid.
It's hard for me to deal with.
Angel wings on the glass.
Ever since Jada Pinkett Smith.
So what's the thing with Tupac? Is she like messing
Max,
around
I
with
can't even
dead
talk about it.
Tupac?
You want to talk about a story I don't want to tell? It's that. I don't
Okay.
even want to deal with her nonsense. All that being said, the one thing that to me I love about this movie, and I think at least every 5 episodes, you and I uncover this. We pick movies that we love and we talk about them, and then we uncover something. We're like, oh my God, this is why I love this movie. It makes sense. Rewatching Poltergeist, the first thing that came into my head, Spielberg's fingerprints are all over this. And I know there's been an ongoing argument about whether he really directed it or not. He wasn't allowed to direct E.T. and Poltergeist at the same
Right.
time, but he was doing a lot of second shots on
Yeah, it feels like
Poltergeist.
Goonies vibes.
It's got his fingerprints all over it.
Yeah.
But more than that, I always in my head was like, God, this feels to me like a remake of Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Well, he wrote this one, right? He's one of the writers.
Max,
Yeah.
it's more than that. So I dug deep because you're right. He did write it.
Yeah.
And what I uncovered to me was like, it made perfect sense when I read it, but I just never had heard it before. And I just was blown away by it. Okay. So Spielberg conceived the idea for Poltergeist as a horror sequel to his 1977 film, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. When he initially came up with the idea for this, he had a brief treatment, and then he wanted to go to Stephen King to write it. Stephen King was too expensive.
remember that,
and
yeah.
you know all that. But his original idea, that it was titled Night Skies.
Oh, interesting.
And the reason it was he literally took this
Yeah.
as a sequel to Close Encounters, because what this movie feels like to me is Close Encounters of the Third Kind if you swap out the aliens and you put in ghosts and spirits.
Weirdly, I love this movie, and I don't like Close Encounters.
Really?
I don't know. Mashed potatoes.
I think you need to watch it again. When was the last time you watched it?
A couple years ago.
You need to watch it again. I think it's one of his
The
best
whole
films.
music things, I don't know.
Oh, you're nuts. I think it's
Yeah.
one of his best
I
films.
know. And I like Dreyfus.
Dreyfus is great in
Yeah.
it. But that's the thing. And then the elements that are Spielbergian, you started the entire episode off with one when he's grabbing
Yeah.
his boss and he's like, how could you do this? Tell me that doesn't remind you of Rob Schneider, not Rob Schneider.
The stapler?
I screw this up every time.
Roy Schreiber.
Yeah, tell me this doesn't remind you of him in Jaws grabbing the mayor and
Yeah,
being
yeah.
like, you're going to sign this.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, my boy was out there. She was like, you're going to sign this right now.
Jurassic
And
Park
we're
when they're
gonna-
yelling at the owner. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like it's just there's and like even when you start the movie, right? The start of the movie is like the whistly light music, like do, do, do,
Yeah.
do,
He kind of
do.
has a
We're in a suburb and we're having fun.
he kind of has like a corporate against the family vibe on everything. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I didn't get that. Where'd you get the corporate piece?
Well, I mean, this one, it's the guy who's just making the.
Yeah, but they don't lean into that. It happens to be that they did it on the barrel on the ground and they cut corners, but it doesn't. That doesn't. To
Okay.
me, it's not. It's. I agree. There are movies that are like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't tie that as like a major theme of this movie. Would
Fine,
you?
whatever.
I hate when I'm right and you're wrong.
I just think it's
Just
funny
kidding.
when
I
you
love
dot,
it.
dot, dot.
I love it. It feels so good.
This is one of the best families of all time. Like a teenage daughter that doesn't hate either one of them.
Mom and dad
Yeah.
smoking grass in bed, just
Yeah.
hanging out with each other.
So I found
healthy relationship.
So this is the second wife, though, by
Craig,
the way.
yeah, Craig T. Nelson.
Did you know that, or-
I did not. He's not out there murdering anyone.
Well, no. So,
Like Action Jackson.
their daughter's 16.
Yes.
And the mom's 32. So it didn't
Yes.
make sense. She's his first family's daughter. Yeah.
Got it,
and then
got it,
he
got it.
remarried.
Okay.
So that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, well, second marriages are typically way happier than first.
Really?
Well, I can say that because Trish doesn't listen to our
Yeah.
podcast, and my next wife probably will be, so that's fine.
And usually stepmoms don't get along well. She's like,
Yeah.
Joe Beth Williams is awesome.
She's great. She's great. There's
Yeah.
there's a whole, to your point, the scene when they're all at the kitchen table.
Yeah.
And they're all razzing each other and throwing
Waffles.
I'm like, let me tell you what my family does not do. When my
That-
3 children sit at a table,
Yeah.
it's literally like, I'll cut you.
I'll come at you like a spider monkey.
Oh man, what does he say? I take pride in gutting you, boy.
Yeah.
That's like literally what
Yeah.
my kids say to each other.
Kind of here.
Oh, thank you.
No, The
Hi,
Rock.
hi.
The Rock.
Yeah, thank you. Whatever. The air.
I'll
the
take pleasure in
conning of
gutting
the air.
you, boy.
Also funny, quick story. Reese, while all this stuff was going on, my oldest comes up to me. I forgot to mention this. And like her and Charlie were like at the edge, like trying to see what was going on. I calmed down and Reese goes, "Hey dad, what number was the kid that did that to Aaron?" And I was like, 17. I didn't think anything of it. I turn around, Reese is gone. Apparently she went looking for the kid. I was like, nice.
Sweet.
Shapiro's only
Sweet
believe in a couple
vengeance.
things. Vengeance. Dude, do not. You can do anything to a Shapiro, and Shapiros treat each other like crap, but you don't hurt a Shapiro if you're an outsider.
Yeah, it's like
going in.
Shameless, but with money.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shameful. That's
Yeah.
what we should call ourselves. Shameful.
It's Succession.
Sweet shame.
F off.
Oh, that's good. It's really good. But that when in looking into this movie, and the other fascinating thing about Poltergeist is I almost feel like I could have watched this with Reese.
Yeah.
Reese is 11. The movie's PG. Originally they wanted to give it an R rating. Spielberg pushed hard for it to be PG. There was no PG-13 because, Max, what year was that developed?
1984.
And this movie came out in 1982.
Red Dawn was the first one.
Bingo bango. Although somebody always complains that you're wrong
Gremlins.
about that. Yeah.
No, it's Gremlins was the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody was like, "Hi, you're
Yeah.
mistaken, Mr. Sanders."
You need to get over this.
I hate when
The internet has people wrong.
When the internet corrects, I am not built for the internet.
No.
If we get popular enough, I might have to like just become like a recluse and move away from it. But this is a really good example of one of those movies. And like, it's funny, right? The playful drug use maybe was a reason. I think it's probably more like the violence, but nobody dies. I mean, the melting face,
That's gross.
That's
The
gross.
steak.
It's scary. I mean,
Yeah.
look, it doesn't feel like a PG movie.
No.
At all.
The tree, the clown.
Yeah.
Never mess with the clown.
Do you remember Scary? You ever see the spoof movies on Scream? Or are they called Scary Movies? Is that what
Yeah.
it is? You ever seen the one with the clown with Damon Wayans?
Yeah.
It's another part of the clown. Oh, and that's the other thing too. I got to tell you, like, there's all of these things that. So I love Stranger Things. Like, you know that I'm like obsessed with Stranger.
Yeah,
Things.
we both do.
So the upside down. When they're stuck and they jump through the mattress and go to the other side, does that resonate to you as the rope and everything?
No, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
I saw that. I'm like, oh my God, this has got such a Stranger Things vibe.
Absolutely. I mean, I guarantee if we look back, Stranger Things definitely was influenced by this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
and
for
also
sure.
kids just kind of acting like adults and dealing with adult situations.
Yeah. Well, this is a little bit unique though.
What?
Because it's not kids with dealing with this movie is adult centric.
Yeah.
The kids don't drive the story. The girl disappears, and then the kids are just pieces of the plot that get moved. But this is driven by short little lady, exorcist, and the
Craig T.
husband and
Nelson.
wife.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And also, I love this is unique to horror films that they have to stay in the house because their daughter is in the house, and like they're not.
I'm so glad you brought this up.
You see what I'm saying? Like they're not afraid. Like normally, like you're opening a door and you're waiting for something to shake. They've been in there for what, 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and before they get the
Max,
psycho paranormal.
It's the greatest plot hole in the history of film.
I think it's great though.
Because you are
It Teflons it.
You're forgiving.
Yeah.
You're kind.
No, because it freaks me out less.
It's outrageous that they stay in the house.
Yeah.
Let's just take a step back.
Yeah.
Let's just take objectively, we're two normal people. were if you had any element of that experience.
So if Reese gets sucked into the walls and you can hear her still, you're not staying?
No, I'm sending everybody out of the house and moving the military in the next day.
Okay.
And then also, and
like Johnson & Johnson from the FBI, they're going to blow up your house.
Great movies can get you to suspend reality. I accept that.
Yeah.
And I love this movie. But come on. Your daughter disappears and the first trip you're making is to some like weird Venkman, Bill Murray, parapsychologist, Ghostbusters.
I mean, the bag's under Craig Nelson's eyes.
Literally, like 3 college students, like working out of like a laboratory who were like, oh yeah, we do this. I mean, like, come on, is that really what's going to happen?
Maybe.
Yeah. Right.
Well,
have you told anybody yet? No. It's all our secret.
I mean, the cops in these movies always get it wrong.
I'm not saying that they don't. It's unique. Again, it's no different in E.T., right? Like,
How
are they? I know. Or even in this movie, like all the neighbors clearly see what's going on. Like, aren't you putting a for sale sign on your house?
Ben, the neighbor, is pretty oblivious.
He's the worst.
Yeah.
He's the worst.
Does mosquitoes ever get you? Nope. Look at my fat child.
Oh, man. Just eating beans. Just nothing like watching a family who's got a big plate of beans.
You were around for this. Do remotes actually work like that if you're on the same frequency?
So I don't know if those remotes do, but I remember a time
Yeah.
when on Devil's Night, we would take the Comcast Universal remotes
Yep.
because they would work on anybody's, and we'd go to like old people's homes and we'd start just changing
so
the channels
mean.
from I know. In the big scheme of things, it's really kind of a benign and innocent prank. But
Whatever helps you sleep, bud.
Yeah, whatever, that's fair. Psycho. So Spielberg wrote an 11-page treatment. I told you.
It's really short.
Night Skies or something like that.
Fire in the Sky.
I love that movie. Not a lot of people do.
It freaks me out. No, everyone loves that movie.
So King and Spielberg had a really nice lunch with each other, and Spielberg was trying to get him to write it, but King's publisher allegedly asked for too much money. But I don't blame him because like if you're sitting with Spielberg, it's like, yeah, dude, you're Spielberg, right?
Yeah.
Like I saw Jaws.
Has Spielberg and King worked together?
That's a great question.
I don't think so.
If I only knew someone whose job it was to check things up on the show. So Siesta Verde. Is it Siesta? Cuesta Verde.
Yeah.
That's the community that the Freelings lived in, is based on Spielberg's actual home that he grew up in.
Yeah. Have you seen The Fablemans?
I have not.
Yeah.
Heard amazing things. I've not seen it yet.
Got a weird family life.
Yeah, a little bit.
His mom ended up remarrying their dad's best friend, and they're all friends still.
I mean, that's not too weird. Shared interest. You spend enough time with people. I could see that.
Yeah, but as a kid, that's pretty traumatic.
Everything's
That's why
traumatic
everything for Spielberg is like divorce stuff, like it's family, it's connection, it's
Stings,
kids
sure.
heartbreaking stuff. That's all he's about. He's got a weird he's like the best sense of like kid emotions out of any director, really, right?
Yeah.
Can you think of anyone else who has like the best kid actor performances?
I think that
Empire of the Sun.
I would expand that a little bit and just simply say he's just a really good storyteller, because when he adapts the adult vernacular of telling a story, when he's doing it from that POV, I think it's just as powerful.
Yeah, I just can't think of like the major, like the Scorsese, the Soderbergh, Tarantino. They don't write kids like Spielberg does.
I agree. Let me think of it this way. What has he not been able to do? Maybe is it just a question of him being so talented that he can do something, and that not just specifically
super
being
old
sweet,
people.
No, not Cocoon.
No.
Cocoon wasn't Spielberg.
Minorities.
Okay, we'll figure it out. Yeah, Minorities. Yeah, good one.
Has he ever done one?
I mean, Schindler's List. Richard Matheson. That's the one that pops into my head.
His name's Spielberg.
Richard Matheson wrote a Twilight Zone episode called Little Girl Lost. And it was about a little girl who goes into another dimension through her bedroom wall. That's pretty familiar to this. So he said Poltergeist was inspired by his episode, but he never received any credit for it. So that's kind of a bummer. I know. I figure if you're that popular and you're doing that well, you should give a tip of the hat if that's where it came from, but who knows. Drew Barrymore auditioned to play Carol Ann. Spielberg thought she would be better suited in E.T.
Yeah.
That would have been a wild change of events if they had swapped. I don't think Carol Ann had
creepiness.
Yeah, but nothing beats E.T. She was held E.T., right?
Yeah, and Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
Do you know the sad story about the murder stuff?
We're going to get to that, about how this entire thing was
cursed.
It was cursed, jinxed. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Actually, we'll go to it right now. Do you have the whole list? It's incredible.
Dominique Dunn, who played Dana, who's the teenage daughter, she was strangled by her ex-boyfriend in her driveway and died November 4th.
Let me back up for a second because you're going to go through this list. So it is speculated by some that the actual, and I don't know if this is true or not, but they actually used real skeletons for some of the shots in
No,
here.
they did. And they didn't.
That's 100%.
They didn't tell Joe Beth Williams till afterwards.
Okay, so that, which is ironic, making a movie about.
I didn't even think of it like that.
Oh yeah, no, that's the reason why.
Like
it was
you're
cursed.
actually
Like this movie is about the disrespecting of bones and dead bodies, which leads to this haunting and specter issue. And then what do you do when you make the movie? You use real bones and dead
Where'd
bodies.
they get them? Black market?
Because you can get anything on the dark web. Although in '82,
Yeah, I mean,
I can get you a toe.
they were wet. Like they still had flesh on them.
I mean,
and teeth.
I'm sure that they didn't come that way, and that was the department.
I like to think that
department.
Steven Spielberg was by himself in a cemetery just digging up. Well, you gotta have fun with life.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Everybody's definition of fun is a little bit different, I suppose. Continue, Max, with your list of horrible things that happened to everybody.
Carol Ann, who played Heather O'Rourke. This is, man, I don't even want to say this. Let me make sure I have this right.
I have the entire list if you'd like me to do it.
No. Oh, you can do it afterwards. So
after you give the list, I can give the list.
No. After her. So this is Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann Freeling.
Yep.
And on Super Bowl Sunday, she didn't feel well. The next morning, she couldn't swallow her toast or Gatorade. Insisted she was okay, but she had cardiac arrest in the ambulance and died at age 12.
Septic shock stemming from a misdiagnosed intestinal stenosis.
Yeah, that's just. And
Dominic Dunn.
And you know what's super creepy about this too? So Robbie, the middle kid.
Yep.
He had a poster in his room of Super Bowl 22, which wasn't going to occur for 6 years, and which was when Heather O'Rourke died 6 years later. 6 years and 1 day later, she died on that day. And in San Diego, where the Super Bowl was occurring, is where the movie's filmed. Right?
Yeah. You did Dominic Dunn, right?
Yeah.
I think that's all. Julianne Beck played Kane in the sequel, died of... Oh, so you didn't do that one. Julianne Beck, who played Kane in the sequel, died of cancer while shooting the film. Will Sampson, who played Taylor in the sequel, died of kidney failure a year after that film's release. And they're all rumored to be tied to the use of actual skeletons.
Yeah, so you're missing the one, the construction dude in the cowboy hat, Pugsley.
Yep.
He was murdered.
Yep.
In real life by Seth Christopher Tatum.
That is,
never name
what is that word that you just said?
Christopher?
Okay.
Yeah.
Not Christopher.
Never name your kid 3 first names.
Never.
They're just going to be a murder.
Apparently, don't name him Christopher or Max will murder your names.
And he was murdered with an axe. That's hard.
That's harsh.
That's
a tough way to go.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to murder. So how would you want to kill someone?
In the scene where Marty ripped off his own face, which is an incredible scene, Spielberg actually did the ripping off on the lifelike bust. They were worried because they only had one of these and they wanted to make sure that it was done well. So Spielberg actually stepped in and it was him that was ripping that off.
That seems like fun.
I think this is really fascinating. So there is my opinion, curious what you think on this one, Max.
Okay.
The special effects are not great in this movie.
Nope.
The practical effects are.
Define, like the steak?
Yeah, there's little things that they do with actual...
The chairs?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that scene, when you watch the scene with the chair stacking...
How'd they get in the slide?
I'm going to talk to you about it. Well, not about the sliding. That I would assume that's a thin wire that you just can't see on the sliding.
Just point those little sausage.
I'm talking about the chair stacking.
Yeah.
So when you see that chair stacking scene...
It's pretty cool.
You recognize that is one cut. Meaning like it's not cutting from like one shot to another. It's one consistent shot of the entire scene. And there's something about that lends itself to the like, oh my God, that happened.
Yep.
And it doesn't feel like, you're not watching CGI. You're not watching an Avengers
quick edit.
movie.
Look over here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the way they did that is that when Diane, Jo Beth Williams, turned away from the table, a crew member quickly grabbed the chairs and had an already assembled cluster and swapped that in. So they just killed the sound so you couldn't hear all the movement and everything. And when it brought it back, you had all those chairs.
That's really
stacked.
cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to live in this house.
Sure.
For a little bit.
You would just stay out of the room where all the lights were and things were freaking out and going crazy. Two of the most famous quotes in the movie I say all the time.
They're here.
Yeah. And this house is clean. Do you remember in Ace Ventura, Pet Detective?
Does he say it?
Yeah, when he goes through his whole
Is it the murder on the balcony? That one?
Yeah. And then when he's done, he goes, this house is clean. I'm like 99% sure. But I'd love to see a very quick TikTok where you just have that. Oh, I'll tell you the other thing, too, that's very Spielbergian, right? Spielberg loves, in intense action moments, sprinkling a little bit of humor.
Yeah.
A little bit of charm. Famously, Indiana Jones, like all the little like wink nods. But in this movie, even when she's like, I'm going to go in. And she's like, no, I'll go in. And she's like, but you've never done this before.
That's
she's
true.
like, but you've never done this before. She goes, that's true. You go in. Those little wink moments, I think, are hilarious. Yeah. And he pulls them off really well.
So, by the way, was Tilda helping them the whole time, or was she possessed or like not?
She only got possessed at the end for a hot moment.
She did?
Yeah.
Okay, when they were like open the door with the rope and all?
No. When she was like, go to the light.
Yeah.
And then she was like, it's safe there. Go to the light.
Yeah.
You could tell she got quickly possessed.
Okay.
Other than that, she was helping them the whole time.
So why didn't she tell them to get out of the house afterwards?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, plot hole to me.
Yeah.
You just got done with this entire
I guess
horrific thing.
she's never done it
out of the house.
She's never done it before.
Max.
Yeah. I love, by the way.
Max, they stayed in the house.
Yeah.
They got their daughter back from the Neverworld.
Yeah, and they're like,
hey, you know what?
Let's get the moving, guys.
Cable's not shut off for 2 days. Let's just stick around. I mean, that's incredible.
I love when the paranormal activity people are like, yeah, we went to Puerto Rico and saw something move 7 inches over 7 hours.
Yeah.
And then they come in and it's like, nope, here's everything.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was. And again, like, whatever. I don't want to spend too much time on the plot holes, but so the tree scene, and that tree is spooky as all hell, by the way.
So that's one of Spielberg's fears from a kid.
That was that tree came from his childhood. Yeah. So they shot it all in reverse order, which is kind of cool. So Robbie, who is played by Oliver Robbins, was actually spit out, not swallowed up by the tree.
Tasty.
Reversing it made the final result look way better.
Yeah.
But
it's like the thing.
Really cool.
They did that with the spider legs and stuff.
The sign, I love, again, another Spielberg thing. They get to their hotel at the end of the movie and they slide the TV out onto the porch.
Yeah.
Because they're like, get the TV out of here. But
do you know what's wonderful about the end too?
Mm-hmm.
The last 6 minutes is completely silent.
Oh,
isn't that neat?
That's very neat.
Yeah, because it's like they're just exhausted. Do you know what I mean? Like you're just mentally done with everything. Yeah.
The Holiday Inn sign says hotel whatever, and then it says, welcome, Dr. Fantasy and Friends. The producer, Mark Marshall's stage name was Dr. Fantasy. He does magic shows, and at the end of all of his productions, he does like a magic show for everyone. So they were giving him like free advertising on that. I thought it was kind of funny.
Weird. I don't like magicians.
Weird, yeah. The imploding house was a 6-foot wide model, took 4 months to complete. They had thick wires that were attached on the inside of the model that pulled it into a funnel, and the model was placed over the funnel, and the camera was shooting downward. If something went bad, the model would just have melted or burst into flames. I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah,
too.
it is neat. It was a cool in 1982 kind of thing.
You're cool in 1982 kind of thing. Max, I got no other facts. Do you have any other facts before we take a break?
The clown is still in Vegas.
Oh, that clown.
It's in Planet Hollywood in Caesar's
Who
Palace
has
in
that
Vegas.
clown in their room, by the way? What kind of psycho?
Yeah. What I mean, like
even before this movie, that's a terrifying looking clown.
It's too big.
Yeah,
it's tall.
Yeah, I don't know,
yeah.
I did like all
It's
this
staring
Star
right
Wars.
at him.
His Star Wars decor was awesome.
The whole, I mean, whoever did the set design is incredible.
Did you hear the sound of the TIE fighters? Like it is the sound, like like.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When that scene, when everything in the room is like moving, you can hear it if you go back and listen to it. It is 100% that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And also, wait, there's the sound where the beast attacks the house at the end.
Yes.
Is the source material for the MGM Lion's Roar afterwards. Now,
oh, look at that!
Isn't that cool?
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Max, on that note, why don't we take a break and get some words from our wonderful sponsors? Buzzn The Tower is also brought to you by Dobie Real Estate. You can find them at wearedobie.com. Where you buy a house and what house you buy. I mean, if there's ever an example of the importance of that, I would say it's Money Pit and Poltergeist are your two 80s movies where
different.
you better, well, for different reasons. One, financial destitute. The other, terrifying kidnapping of your children by spirits and ghouls.
I go Blank Check.
Yeah.
That's my movie.
That's a good one, too. Not in the 80s, but appreciate it.
I know.
Max.
I love
Thanks.
that movie.
You're good. You're good. Dobie Real Estate is going to make sure that you get into the absolute right house. And pretend for a minute, you got to sell the house they were just in. How are you doing that with good conscience? Well,
Craig T. Nelson.
You don't have to have good conscience. Go to Dobie Real Estate. They will sell your haunted house off your hands for you to take care of you. That's a great. I hope so. I mean, what else are you going to do with that house? $400 million in sales, 1,000 homes
doesn't
sold.
exist at the end.
Reach out to him today. Tell him that Buzzn The Tower sent you, and get ready to either purchase the best home or sell at the highest price you could ever imagine. Welcome back.
I'm
to
here.
The scariest moment of your life.
This is not scary.
I know.
I just love
it's
it.
Silly.
Yeah.
I would scare the hell out of my kids.
Well, it's like there's no jump scares. Everything's in front of you.
When the actual giant like ghoul head goes through the door
pretty
to
laughable.
Craig T.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was scary.
Oh, really?
Not the other stuff that's like the weird dog looking one.
Yeah.
And then when she's getting knocked around her bed and wearing nothing but a pair of underwear and a t-shirt, that was an interesting scene.
Yeah, it felt very Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah.
/ dancing on the ceiling.
Yeah. By the way, a lot of Freddy Kruegers this year for Halloween.
Really?
Yeah.
I think he's making a comeback.
I'd
love to see
it was
him
that
come
and the the sultry robot women from Austin Powers.
You know what I completely forgot?
What?
What it's
Fembots.
like. What it's like to work at Scorekeepers during Halloween.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So many people were in Michigan gear with
Stealing signs?
binoculars and
Yeah.
sign things. It was
Don't
really
even
funny.
get me started on the stealing signs. The most like nothing story ever to me. But
Yeah,
whatever.
and we're gonna lose our coach.
That's fine. We were going to lose him anyways.
I know.
Tom Brady be the next head coach at Michigan.
That'd be
You heard it here first.
Yeah, right.
And he'll deflate those balls and we'll go win some championships.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. You know, I blame you for this because you're one of the, you grew up in Boston
Yep.
and you went to Michigan.
Yeah.
And both places that you're at have massive scandals.
Hey, just win.
Yeah,
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
So true.
I tell that to Selena every night before I go to bed.
Jesus Christ. Max, tell me about the directors, actors, actresses, writers, all that fun stuff.
Toby Hooper, who started in Hanging with Mr. Cooper. I've ruined it.
No, it's okay. It was
Bad
really
joke.
good. It was a great joke and it was executed really well. Tell me about Hanging with Mr. Tooper. Is that Tupac's brother?
I'd like to go home.
No, you're doing great. I could sit here all day.
He was born in Texas. He
On a
directed
Tuesday? Tooper Tuesday?
he directed Dancing with Myself, the Billy Idol video.
Sure.
And he did Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah. We
which is-
talked about this on our last episode. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Because they originally wanted him for The Thing.
Yeah.
But he passed on it and then
Yeah.
they went with Carpenter, obviously.
He also did Life Force. I hear it's a really creepy 80s movie with Patrick Stewart. Have you seen it?
I've not.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart.
Nope.
No, that's Sean Connery.
Patrick Stewart.
There we go.
Yes, I talk
yeah.
like
All
this.
right. Well, you redeemed yourself on your Tooper.
Writers were Spielberg, which is rare. He only did Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Goonies Story, AI Screenplay, and The Fablemans.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows how to write.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, literally.
He's got a
He
feeling.
went to school.
I know. He's pretty good at what he does.
Yeah. Can you write in cursive? I can't write in cursive.
Barely.
Yeah. Are they still teaching that?
I need you to bring your focus back to the podcast now.
Okay. So
Jesus Christ. Squirrel.
also written by Michael Grace, who did an episode of Starsky and Hutch, Kojak, and the movie Cool World, which I hear is
I
awesome.
love Cool World.
Yeah, I need to see it.
Oh, you need to see it.
It's young Brad Pitt, right?
Yeah.
And Mark Victor did the same things as Michael Grass. And he also did Marked for Death, which is a movie.
It's a movie.
Yeah.
Seagal. Stefan.
Did you see that there's new clips of him like working
Yeah,
out?
you put one. Oh, I saw the one
that one's
you
from
put
5
on.
years ago.
Okay, all
I can't
right.
find the new ones. There's ones
Oh, I
where
gotta
like
find
he
the new
looks
stuff.
like a balloon with. He looks like the blueberry guy. From,
He is responsible.
Willy Wonka.
You know, he's worse than Weinstein. He's literally more of a monster than Weinstein. Yeah.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
He
He's not a good guy.
plants don't like him.
No.
Okay.
No, not so much.
All right. The cast: Jo Beth Williams, who I love. She's a Texas gal. Went to Brown. Turned down Murphy Brown, which was written for her. So I could see that she could have done it. Yeah. She's in the Texas Hall of Fame. What the hell is that?
It's probably very expansive. Texas is a big state.
She was in Kramer's for.
Easy.
She was in Kramer versus Kramer.
There, at a girl.
Yeah. She's played Phyllis. I think she was the friend. Stir Crazy. She's Meredith.
Yep.
She's Karen in The Big Chill.
She sure is.
She's in 4
She
episodes.
was great in The Big Chill.
Yeah. She's in 4 episodes of Dexter. Do you know which episodes? I don't.
Not for the life of me. I'm trying to think.
So underrated career, and I think this is like the all-star. This is the perfect use of her. She's
Oh, yeah.
cool.
She was great.
Like
She was fun. This was very Big Chill. She felt like it was very Big Chill to me.
when she has the white in her hair, and she's like, "Isn't it kind of punk rock?" I'm like, "I like you.
Yeah.
I just want to." And
she is super likable in this movie.
well, and she loves her kids.
Yep.
Yeah, and her and Craig T. Nelson seem
Have
like
a great relationship.
Yeah.
Again, those second marriages, man.
they
That's
like
the way
fake
to go.
diving in their tidy whities.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Nothing.
You love Craig T. Nelson.
I do love Craig T. Nelson.
Do you do that in your tidy whities?
I don't wear tidy whities.
I used to.
I'm sure
Then
you
someone
did.
pantsed me, and I got really embarrassed.
Was this like last year?
It was in high school. It was too late to be wearing tidy whities.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was during the basketball line at like the JV game.
That's great.
And like the coolest kid on the team did it. And
I
was like,
envision this being literally. All I can think of is Robert Downey Jr. doing this to Gary and Wyatt at the beginning of Weird Science.
Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Don't cry.
Continue.
Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann.
Yep.
She's she's fantastic. I guess Spielberg saw her and her mom at the MGM like commissary and was like, "You're perfect for this role. I want you to read." I know she wasn't like an actress, or maybe she was, and maybe I don't have enough information on this.
Good, Max. Good work.
Thought I could fake my way through it. Can't.
No, not your strong suit.
She was in 12 episodes of Happy Days. It's kind of hot in here, isn't it?
It's fine in here.
Okay.
Max.
It's getting hot. Webster, she's in Poltergeist 1 through 3. Craig T. Nelson, who we love on the show. I think he's one of the most underrated actors of our generation. Craig is from Spokane, Washington. He was a comedian before an actor, and it shows. He wanted to be a hydroplane racer. I don't know what that is because I crashed my car in high school
maybe.
when I hydroplaned.
Yes.
That's when the wheels
hit the
like go
cop.
like ghost ride the whip.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
He's a golf enthusiast. He was in Private Benjamin, Stir Crazy. He's in this. Obviously, all the right moves. He's the coach. Turner and Hooch. He's Chief Howard Hyde. Evil.
I know we've talked about this. His greatest role is as the murderer of his wife and dating of his stepdaughter in The Devil's Advocate.
No, he's the voice of Mr. Incredible.
Yeah, that's good too.
Or Blades of Glory. He's really funny as the
really
coach.
good, Blades of Glory.
That's an underrated movie.
All right, Max, move it along for God's sake. Come on.
Okay. Beatrice Straight, who played Dr. Lesh. I like to say it. Lesh.
Moving along.
Sorry.
Max.
So, have you seen Network?
Yes.
Yeah, she's Louis Schumacher. She's the wife who's being left, and she's like, "What the hell?"
More importantly, she is the woman who helps the teen witch.
Nope. We're talking about Dr. Lesh, the redheaded.
Yeah, never mind. I'm thinking of the little short gal.
Yeah, you think Network? He was leaving a little 4'1"?
Yeah, no.
Don't leave me.
I pulled a really big Max there. I really zoned out halfway through what you were saying. But no, continue.
Dominique Dune, who was brutally murdered, was on Chips, Fame, and Breaking Away, the TV show.
Yes, it is.
Oliver Robbins, who played Robbie Freeling, the kid who's scared by the clowns and all.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Airplane 2, which probably killed his career. Twilight Zone, the TV show. Poltergeist 2. Neighbor Ben is Michael McManus. Great name. So I think you'd be friends with him. He produced Mafia, the comedy movie, and Hot Shots Part 2. Yeah, there you go.
Man.
He was on Dallas, MASH, Smokey and the Bandit, Kentucky Fried Movie, and also he's in Action Jackson. He's Grantham.
Who is Grantham?
It's a good question.
You just know the name and nothing else?
Yep.
It's good, Max. Continue, please. Grantham.
Don't call me out.
Amazing.
I'm an inch deep, mile wide.
You are,
all right?
you are. Can we get to the short lady now so I can talk about her?
Sure. Zelda Rubinstein.
There
who's
she is.
4'3" tall.
Bum, ba-da-da-dum, ba-dum.
So she's kind of...
I'm not going to let you cut me off. I'm going to sing the theme song to Zelda.
Okay.
Bum, bum, ba-da-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Just keep going. Did you play N64 Zelda? Yeah.
No. I played the OG Zelda, my friend.
Yeah.
When I got my Nintendo, my aunt, I think, bought it for me. And in the mail, either she bought it for me or she got me this game. I got this gold cartridge. All the other cartridges were gray. I got a sweet, sweet gold cartridge, and I played myself some Zelda. I took down Ganon in 72 hours.
Nice. So she's kind of an inspiring story. She started acting at age 45.
Oh, wow.
She was a medical lab technician before that.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, you're crazy to start acting. And she's one of the first celebrity AIDS advocates for like when AIDS was coming.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
she was like, because, she's a lab technician. She saw this kind of happening.
Yeah.
She was the organist in 16 Candles.
Yes, she was.
Yeah. In Teen Witch, like you said, she's Madame Serena.
Yes.
Yeah, she's really good in that.
She's great in Teen Witch.
Adam's Family, she's a party goater.
A party goater. Now, is that someone who parties strictly with goats, or do they like to party with
It's on a case-by-case basis.
You party goating son of a gun.
And she's Patty's mother in Hey Arnold.
Yes.
But I don't know, she's very unique and very cool. And like she's probably the best part of this movie.
I'll tell you, no joke. When I saw her first party with a goat, that's when I was like, you party goating son of a gun. I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah, it's fair.
It's really good.
Let's see.
Party goats.
Sonny Landham's in this movie.
Oh, I know. How wild is that?
Yeah.
He's the pool guy who's sexually harassing the guy's 16-year-old daughter, which now it makes sense that it's her stepdaughter because she seemed pretty cool with them cat whistling her out in the yard.
Yeah, and the mom seemed okay with it too.
Well, because she liked that her daughter reacted with a good old birdie.
Yeah.
That is early 80s, like, allowed sexual harassment where it was, like, funny to them. It was funny.
Would you just beat the crap out of those guys, or would you let your daughter, like, fend off?
It seemed like they had some kind of relationship. Like, they all knew each other. So I don't know, dude. I mean, don't even ask. I mean, I'm not in a good place to ask questions today. Today, my answer would be, I kill everyone.
Sonny
right?
Landham's like, want to drink beers?
Yeah, I'd be like, hey,
Winnebago?
I'd be like, are you Sonny Landham? You can do whatever you want. I'm just going to step over here behind security and not get murdered.
And no one else really did anything. Marty, the guy whose face got ripped off. He's
McFly?
No.
Oh, okay.
The guy whose face got ripped off in the mirror.
Marty McFly, yes.
He's Martin Caselli. He was a yuppie in RoboCop 2.
Okay.
I don't know which yuppie, but
no, probably was with that other guy who you don't know anything about. From
yeah,
Action
I mean,
Jackson.
everyone in this movie pretty much died or their career died.
And with that, Max, what a wonderful way to close things out. Any last thoughts on this movie? Favorite scene?
Oh God, favorite scene. Probably when they're just smoking a J and hanging out, and like maybe the breakfast table, or maybe when the chairs are moving. Like
I liked the chair moving scene was very Close Encounters of the Third Kind to me.
Yeah. So there's a scene in The Office. Have you seen The Office?
Not enough to like have instant recall on scenes.
Okay, there's this girl, Erin, who's like not the smartest person.
She was like adopted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who she is.
And she was dating Gabe.
Yeah.
Who
the skinny HR guy. Yeah.
And she's like, we play words with friends, and whoever wins gets to pick the movie. He picks horror movies. And it's like, they're not really my style, but I like the beginning when the family's all happy. Like, that's what I like.
That's precious. Look at you having a moment. I like that.
No, the beginning of horror movies actually can be really sentimental and fun and like connecting. And then that's why it's so heartbreaking when they get ripped to pieces by like Satan's butthole or something.
Oh, man. Good old Satan's butthole. I'm kind of in line with you on this. I think one of my favorite scenes in the movie is I love when he gets into bed with his son and he's like, tells him about counting between lightning and thunder. And
do you do that?
No. My kids sleep like rocks. It's awesome. But probably, I don't know. I think probably my overall favorite scene. God, Max, is it lame if I tell you it's when he grabbed the guy by his shirt and overacted and said, "Why didn't you tell me?" I think that's probably my favorite scene in the movie.
It's really good.
I'm only going to give you one person to recast. Who would you put in place of Craig T. Nelson if you had to recast this movie?
Wilford Brimley.
That's a lie, but continue.
Okay. Craig T. Nelson. I'm trying to think. Who's like middle-aged, kind of strapping, big dude. Maybe Biff Tannen. Is he too young?
Yeah, probably an 82.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if you put oh God. Who plays Marty's dad? Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover?
That'd be the worst.
Hey, you. Get your damn hands off my daughter. God, what a terrible pick. Do you have any better pick than that?
I'm trying to think. Big, kind of lovable guy.
He wasn't that big. I mean, he's somewhat big.
Craig Nelson's 6'4".
Yeah. But he doesn't come across that way in the movie.
Yeah,
Do you think he does?
Well, in like a jovial way. You know what I mean? Like he carries himself well.
How about a thin, young John Goodman? I just watched
He's never thin.
The Big Lebowski.
He's thin now.
Thinner. I just watched The Big Lebowski the other day. And it made me think, he was not thin in that, but it made me think of John Goodman.
He's too intimidating.
Revenge of the Nerds. Give me Revenge of the Nerds.
He's too intimidating. Like when he could actually scare the ghosts away.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "Get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat all your turkey."
Max.
You remember the Family Guy scene?
That's great. All right, Max.
We haven't eaten in weeks.
You got anything else?
No.
Okay, now is a great time to relax, kick our feet up, take a deep breath, and see what we've got from our Buzzn The Tower fan spotlight. Max, today's Buzzn The Tower fan spotlight is none other from the Great White North. Ryan Hughes from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, Canada. I only thought Prince Albert was a piercing. I did not know it was
also a wrestler
thing.
from the
Apparently,
90s.
That's amazing. Ryan is a fan of the show. He just sent me the other day, or sent us, I should say, The Shining, Kermit the Frog with Piggy.
Yeah.
Kermit's got the axe. I'm in 100%.
Do Kermit as The Shining.
As The Shining?
Yeah.
What do you want me to say? Give me something to say.
No work and no.
Does he ever say that?
Give me the bat.
Give me the bat. That's Dean Cain. Dean Cain more than
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Ryan's
stuff.
just such a good dude. He just like enjoys. I guess he just found us online, and we've just been talking about movies.
Talking and dancing.
Yeah.
Well, why am I listening to you? Let's hear what he had to say.
Mo and Max, thank you so much. I'm Ryan Hughes. I'm from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, Canada. And man, I'm just honored to be on this awesome podcast called Buzzn The Tower. I think I found out about you guys on my For You page on TikTok, and I was intrigued. And then I saw these episodes, and I just was right away just attached to your podcast. And I'm not a podcast person, so I really appreciate what you're doing and keep up with the great content. So we're talking about Poltergeist 1982 right now. I'm 4 at the time in 1982, and the tagline everyone's saying is, "They're here." And it's just instant intrigue for audiences. I never find this movie scary when I revisit it, but man, there are some images that just stick with you, like Marty's maggot midnight snack, and that's just disgusting to watch. The pool scene, which Jo Beth Williams didn't know they were going to film, the house imploding, and also Jo Beth Williams blow drying her hair on the bed, but that's for a different podcast. So I just loved that Tobe Hooper directed this, and did you know that Tobe Hooper also directed Billy Idol's song video for the song Dancing With Myself? Is your mind blown, Max? Heather O'Rourke, the unfortunate passing of her, man. She was just a gem of an actress. I saw her in Happy Days as well. And Craig T. Nelson, his characters, man, always seem like they're one step from snapping and killing everyone in the room, like in Book Club, Next Chapter, and Family Stone. His smile and his eyes, man, they're deep and deceiving. And yeah, he can play some great characters. I like him. Also, hey, a fun fact about Craig T. Nelson, he was in an episode of WKRP in Cincinnati. Great show. Love that too. Let's see, what else have I got here for you guys? You know, I'm just honored to be able to do this. I really appreciate it, and I love what you're doing. It takes me back to a time when I was watching movies in my house at the age of 8, and I just got enamored with movies. And so really appreciate what you're doing, taking us behind the scenes of a lot of these movies and for including us through these spotlights. So, Mo, I'm learning that I am more like you every day. We have a lot in common, and I really appreciate you. And Max, stand up for yourself once in a while. Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it. And now excuse me while I go and buy a house from Dobie Real Estate using my Sonic loan. Have a great one, guys. Thanks.
That is a hard act to follow for any of other spotlights.
God, I always forget Canadians are like the friendliest people on earth.
Oh, here we go.
I feel like I was just
Here we go. New best friend, because he told you to stand up to the evil Mo.
No, he was just really.
You shut your mouth.
His voice
shut
is
your
silky.
mouth.
I felt like I was covered in maple syrup.
No,
in like a good way.
I love that he
Not the bad way.
I know there's not a bad way to be covered in maple syrup, FYI. I love that he found us through TikTok.
Yeah.
Because I put a lot of time into it. You don't do very much, but I'm joking. It's all you, Max. It's all you. By the way, the Craig T. Nelson call out's great. I had no idea. I love WKRP in Cincinnati. He's
always 1 second away from snapping. Like, he's very warm, but he's got those eyes where you're like, he might kill somebody.
Yeah. It's interesting. All these movies, Ryan did a great job of articulating this, but it's so cool to go back to when these were coming out or how they were teased or like what you thought about it. And this was like a win-win film for most people. Ryan, you nailed it. And we're going to get Max to try to send you a pin. It's just tough because you're in Canada, which apparently we have like a trade embargo with and we can't mail stuff to.
I'll throw it.
Can you work around that, Max? Can you just put a little effort
I'll throw it into the Ontario Lake.
Ryan just did his best to protect you and your sweet sensitivities. The least you can do is get him a pin. Can
Fine.
you just do that, please?
Yeah, Ryan, give me your address.
All right, thank you.
And your social security number.
Then, yeah.
And your credit card. Your mother's maiden name, your dogs.
Come on. That's how you treat the one guy out there looking out for you.
Great Robin, baby.
It's unbelievable.
Spielberg's taught me a lot.
Unbelievable. Max, on that note, a reminder to follow, subscribe, leave a review. Check us out on all social media platforms at Buzzn The Tower, Buzzn The Tower. You can also go to our website, pick up officially licensed merchandise, or patreon.com/Buzzn The Tower. Another episode, another day, another dollar. On that note, I turn it over to Max, the man, the myth, the legend. How do you want to end this rockin' episode?
For when he's hungry, for when he's lonely, for when it's bedtime. When they're saying goodbye to the bird. And they give all the little cute things.
They do great.
They do great. They do great.
Max.
What?
This house is clean. You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.